Hello everyone, welcome to this series on American literature. And in this video, we are going to discuss the poem I Too by Langston Hughes. Introduction. I Too is a poignant and powerful poem by Langston Hughes, first published in 1926 during the height of the Harlem Renaissance. This brief yet profound work encapsulates the experience of American racism as seen through the eyes of a black man. Hughes, a central figure in the Harlem Renaissance, uses this poem to voice the frustrations, resilience, and hopes of African Americans who were systematically excluded from full participation in American life. The poem not only addresses the literal exclusion of black people from the social and political fabric of America, but also asserts their rightful place within it, foretelling a future where their contributions will be fully recognized and celebrated. Summary. The poem unfolds as a first-person narrative, where the speaker, a black man, recounts his experiences of exclusion and marginalization. The speaker begins by declaring, "I too sing America," positioning himself as an integral part of the nation, despite being treated as less than equal by white society. He describes how, when company arrives, he is sent to eat in the kitchen, away from the others. This act symbolizes the broader societal segregation and the denial of black people's rightful place in the American social order. Despite this exclusion, the speaker responds not with anger or despair, but with quiet defiance. He laughs, eats well, and grows strong, preparing himself for a future where he will no longer be relegated to the kitchen, but will take his place at the table with everyone else. This table, both literal and metaphorical, represents a seat of equality and respect. A place where the speaker and, by extension, all black Americans will be recognized as full and equal participants in American society. The poem concludes with the speaker confidently asserting that those who once excluded him will see his beauty and feel ashamed of their actions, and he reaffirms that he, too, is America. Themes. One of the central themes of I Too is the racism and American identity. The poem serves as a direct protest against the pervasive racism that characterized American society during Hughes's time. The speaker, representing the black community, insists on his place within the American narrative, challenging the exclusion and marginalization imposed by white society. The line, "I too sing America," alludes to Walt Whitman's "I Hear America Singing," a poem that celebrates the diversity of American life but conspicuously omits black voices. By echoing and expanding on Whitman's vision, Hughes's speaker asserts that black Americans are an essential part of the nation's fabric, their voices and contributions just as vital as those of any other group. Another significant theme is perseverance and cultural identity. Despite the systematic racism and segregation that force the speaker into the metaphorical kitchen, he does not succumb to bitterness or despair. Instead, he laughs, eats well, and grows strong, symbolizing the resilience and vibrancy of black culture. The speaker's confidence in a better tomorrow reflects the determination of black Americans to claim their rightful place in society. This theme resonates deeply with the broader goals of the Harlem Renaissance, a movement that sought to celebrate and assert the cultural contributions of black Americans. The poem also explores the theme of hypocrisy and segregation. The act of sending the speaker to eat in the kitchen when company arrives is a metaphor for the broader societal practice of segregation. It highlights the hypocrisy of a society that professes equality but practices exclusion. The speaker is referred to as the darker brother, implying a familial connection with the white members of society who nonetheless marginalize him. This metaphor underscores the absurdity and cruelty of a system that excludes those who are in fact integral to the nation's identity and history. Line by line explanation and analysis. Line 1. I too sing America. The poem opens with a powerful declarative statement, I too sing America. This line is an allusion to Walt Whitman's I Hear America Singing, where Whitman depicts a unified American identity composed of diverse voices. However, Whitman's vision notably excludes black people, a gap that Hughes addresses in his poem. By insisting that he too sings America, the speaker claims his place in this national chorus, asserting that black people are an essential part of the American narrative. Line 2. I am the darker brother. The next line introduces the speaker as the darker brother, immediately establishing his identity as a black man. The use of the term brother suggests a familial relationship with the white members of society, emphasizing the shared humanity and interconnectedness of all Americans. Lines 3 and 4. They send me to eat in the kitchen when company comes. However, this relationship is marred by exclusion, as the speaker is sent to eat in the kitchen when company arrives. This act symbolizes the broader societal segregation and the denial of black people's rightful place in American social order. Lines 5 to 7. But I laugh and eat well and grow strong. Despite this exclusion, the speaker's response is one of resilience. He laughs, eats well, and grows strong, preparing for a future where he will no longer be relegated to the kitchen. The mention of growing strong implies that the speaker is not merely enduring this treatment, but is actively building the strength and confidence necessary to challenge it. Line 8. Tomorrow. The use of the word tomorrow in the following lines shifts the focus to the future, where the speaker envisions himself sitting at the table with everyone else, a powerful symbol of equality and acceptance. Lines 8 to 14. Tomorrow I'll be at the table when company comes. Nobody will dare say to me, eat in the kitchen then. The speaker predicts a future where he will sit at the table with others, symbolizing equality and inclusion. He confidently asserts that no one will dare to send him back to the kitchen when that day comes. Lines 15 to 17. Besides, they'll see how beautiful I am and be ashamed. The poem continues with the speaker proclaiming that others will see how beautiful he is and feel ashamed of their previous actions. This beauty represents the strength, culture, and contributions of black Americans that have been ignored or dismissed by white society. Line 18. I too am America. The speaker concludes with a reaffirmation of his place in America. I too am America. This final line serves as both a declaration and a demand for recognition, asserting the speaker's and by extension all black Americans' rightful place in the nation. Symbols. Hughes uses several powerful symbols in I too to convey the poem's themes. The kitchen represents the segregation and marginalization of Black Americans. It is a place where the speaker is hidden away, out of sight, just as Black people were often pushed to the margins of society. However, the kitchen is also a place of nourishment and growth, where the speaker gains strength, symbolizing the resilience of Black culture in the face of adversity. The company symbolizes white society, which enforces segregation and exclusion while simultaneously benefiting from the labor and contributions of Black people. The speaker's exclusion from the table when company arrives highlights the hypocrisy of a society that relies on Black labor but refuses to acknowledge Black humanity. Finally, the table symbolizes equality and inclusion. The speaker's eventual place at the table represents his acceptance into American society as an equal, a recognition of his contributions and his rightful place in the national narrative. Poetic devices and figurative language. Hughes employs various poetic devices and figurative language to enhance the impact of I too. The use of end-stopped lines emphasizes the speaker's confidence and certainty in his assertions. For example, the opening line, I too sing America, ends with a period, signaling the speaker's firm belief in his place within the nation. Enjambment is used to create a sense of suspense and continuity, reflecting the ongoing struggle for equality. The line, "When company comes," which is repeated in the poem, is an example of enjambment that leaves the reader anticipating what will follow, mirroring the uncertainty faced by the speaker. Hughes also uses allusion to connect his poem to the broader American literary tradition. The reference to Whitman's "I Hear America Singing" serves to position I too within this tradition while also challenging its exclusions. By invoking Whitman, Hughes underscores the importance of including Black voices in the American narrative. The entire poem can be seen as an extended metaphor for the experience of racism and the right for equality. The act of being sent to the kitchen symbolizes the broader societal practice of segregation, while the table represents the equality and recognition that the speaker and Black Americans as a whole seek. Form, meter, and rhyme scheme. I too is written in free verse with no fixed meter or rhyme scheme. This choice reflects the speaker's desire to break free from the constraints of traditional, Eurocentric poetic forms which often excluded Black voices. By using free verse, Hughes creates a new independent poetic voice that is uniquely suited to expressing the experiences and aspirations of Black Americans. The poem's lack of a consistent meter allows for variations in rhythm, which Hughes uses to great effect. For example, the transition from rising to falling meter in the poem's middle stanzas reflects the shift from exclusion to inclusion, from marginalization to empowerment. Hughes also avoids using rhyme, a conscious choice that further distances the poem from traditional European forms. This decision allows the focus to remain on the content of the poem rather than on its form, emphasizing the speaker's message of resistance and hope. Similar poems. The Negro Speaks of Rivers by Langston Hughes. This poem also explores African American identity and heritage, connecting the speaker's soul to the ancient rivers of the world. It emphasizes the deep and enduring connection of Black people to human civilization. Like I too, this poem reflects on the strength and resilience of African Americans, using powerful imagery to assert a rich cultural history. I Hear America Singing by Walt Whitman. Whitman's poem celebrates the diverse voices of American workers, each contributing to the nation's strength. However, it notably omits the voices of Black Americans. Hughes's I Too is a direct response to this poem, challenging Whitman's exclusion and asserting that Black Americans are an integral part of the American identity. Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. This powerful poem is a declaration of resilience and strength in the face of oppression. Angelou's speaker rises above the prejudice and injustice directed at her, much like Hughes's speaker does in I Too. Both poems convey a message of empowerment and defiance against racial discrimination, celebrating the beauty and strength of Black identity. If We Must Die by Claude McKay. McKay's poem is a rallying cry for resistance against racial violence and oppression. It encourages dignity and courage in the face of death and injustice. Like I Too, this poem is a powerful statement of resistance and pride, urging Black people to stand up against their oppressors. Harlem, also known as A Dream Deferred by Langston Hughes. This poem explores the frustrations of deferred dreams, particularly those of African Americans in a society that marginalizes them. It questions what happens when dreams are continually put off and suggests that the consequences can be explosive. Harlem deals with the theme of African American aspirations and the systematic barriers to achieving those dreams, echoing the themes of exclusion and hope found in I Too. Let America Be America Again by Langston Hughes. This poem critiques the American dream, highlighting the gap between the ideals of freedom and equality and the realities faced by marginalized groups, including African Americans. The speaker calls for America to live up to its promises for all its people. Both poems reflect on the unfulfilled promise of America for Black people, with Hughes using his poetry to call for recognition and change. Sympathy by Paul Laurence Dunbar. This poem expresses the pain of confinement and the longing for freedom, using the metaphor of a caged bird to represent the plight of African Americans. Sympathy shares with I Too a focus on the experiences of African Americans under systemic oppression and the yearning for dignity and equality. Conclusion. I Too by Langston Hughes is a powerful declaration of Black identity and resistance in the face of American racism. Through his use of vivid imagery, symbolism, and poetic devices, Hughes captures the resilience and strength of Black Americans, who, despite being marginalized and excluded, continue to assert their rightful place in the national narrative. The poem serves as both a critique of the hypocrisy and injustice of segregation and a hopeful vision of a future where Black people are fully recognized and included in American society. As such, I Too remains a seminal work in American literature, reflecting the ongoing struggle for racial equality and the underlying spirit of those who fight for it. So this was the discussion on the poem I Too by Langston Hughes. We will meet in the next video and discuss some other poem. Until then, goodbye and thank you.